All right, so what we're going to talk about today is fuel pumps, and this is a necessity for all Hemi swaps, is putting out the correct fuel pressure. So for our purposes, we're looking for a pump that's capable of putting out around 60 psi continuously. That's what's needed for atomization at the fuel injectors and everything to run properly. I think technically in the manual it's like 58.5, but we just say 60, okay? So this is a very tried and true Walbro 255 liter per hour pump. It's very common in swaps, both in the LS world, the import world, and in the Hemi swap world. This is a genuine Walbro, so it has the logo embossed in it, and you can see it's made in the USA. A couple of things that you can note is at the bottom of this is the GSS 340, so it has the larger mouth opening. You can see on the inside we have metal gears, so it is a positive displacement pump that submerges in the tank, capable of putting in an output of 60 psi, and the discharge has a check valve. Now, this was an old pump that we had just laying around the shop, and we're going to use it in the low buck Hemi truck project, just in the sake of saving money, right? So it's a pump we had laying around. Instead of buying another, we'll use it. We have two problems. One is we are missing the electrical connector that left evidently with an old project. We don't have the connector for the top, and we do not have a fuel filter sock for the inlet. I took the mesh screen out just to show the insides and how it has metal gears, but we needed those two things. So I set out on Amazon, and there are many options for the 255 liter per hour. Lots of people make their own versions. Lots of people have non-genuine replacements, I guess I'll say. So they're knockoffs out there. And on Amazon, you can see quite a few different ones. We looked for just the replacement, the filter kit, and it was roughly $20, you know, just to get the screen filter, the sock filter as some people call it, and the connector at the top. So that's about what we were looking to spend here on this whole setup to get it back in our new tank. When we looked, we actually found a complete knockoff pump set that has the connector, the filter sock, the rubber dampener isolator, the discharge hose, all sorts of things that we would need to run our old pump. So it's like, well, hey, no brainer, let's buy a complete pump. All right, so this is what we did. And as you can see, when it arrived, it comes and it says 255 liter per hour, high performance electric replacement for Walbro GSS 340. So a normal Walbro, it's like $70 to $80 just the pump itself, maybe $130 for the whole kit, as you see here. So $130 versus $18. There's got to be some quality differences, I would assume. If you want, and you really want to keep things low buck, you can try these knockoff pumps, but they have a known shortened livelihood of about a year because of how they're made. So just beware, you go the short, cheap route of $18 fuel pump set, that you could be left on the road in about a year. So immediately we notice that this is a little bit lighter. And if I look inside, I can see that the gears actually inside are made out of a high density plastic. It's a composite. So the livelihood right there immediately is reduced. Also, we notice it doesn't have any stampings on the casing like the true made in America Walbro 255 liter per hour. But look at everything else. I mean, it is near identical.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and weigh the original here. If we can get it to stay on. There we go. So 12.8 ounces.
That is the OEM.
So Walbro. Let's see. This one comes out to be 11.8. So it's an ounce lighter.
Yeah. Blake and I looked inside, and it looked like we could see some metal inside. So,
But there's a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a really good, clear, defined gear set there for positive displacement in this one.
we do. Let's see if y'all can see that. Y'all can see the gear.
Yep.
Yep.
See
There's
the
the gears.
And in this one, it could either be a composite or a cast material.
It's like all. If you look at it in the light, all you see is like almost like a metal plate. You don't see any gears. Yeah. Some kind of opening right there, but you don't see any noticeable gears. And you can see the metal is a very rough, you know, looks like a cast, some form of cast.
It could be a plastic, because some do have plastic, but it is cast. It is definitely a different internal gear design.
Yeah, but that basically just looks like a baffle or whatever to me right there.
It could be.
So it could just be metal right there and plastic behind, but who knows? But we know it's lighter for sure, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're only going to use the OEM for now, since we got it on hand, and we don't want to risk it right now, unless we really have to. But we don't have to right now. Pretty much.
This one does not have a mesh inlet screen such as this one does. Right?
It doesn't give you one in the package.
Let's see what it gives us here.
Those ones, man. This is the one we got. So if you can see that.
That is it. So no, it doesn't. There in the kit we have hose clamps. We have the electrical connector, the pigtail. We have one hose right there if you want to use this shorter EFI hose. You also have the corrugated plastic hose, which is very typical. This is one we're actually going to wind up using because that's what the factory uses.
Okay.
And then you have the filter sock itself with the snap ring, like the compression ring that grabs the bottom of the pump. So to me, just this stuff right here was worth the $17. Just this stuff.
Yeah.
I feel it was worth it. For the low buck Hemi truck, I would propose we just kind of keep this in the toolbox as an emergency. I don't want us to be driving around a year from now and it just leave us on the side of the road. That does not sound like fun to me, and it's just, I mean, it's not a genuine part. This one we know it works. We had it in a former project, and decided to, you know, pull it out and put a larger pump in it. So all this stuff transfers over.
Does that fit right in?
Yeah. Connector fits right in. I mean, it is a complete knockoff. So you could actually take the insulating sleeves, you know, just stuff that really just helps. I mean, look, that slides right on. You could do that. You have the bottom dampener isolator. I mean, it's the same, right? It really is. So all this stuff will help us with vibrations inside the bucket, the sending unit in the low buck Hemi truck, but at a fraction of the cost. This is disposable stuff anyway, so we would pop this ring off. This is the old filter sock compression ring. Yep.
Didn't mess up anything.
I don't mess anything up. So yeah, that would just, you see that's going to snap right on. Right. We will use the legitimate 255 liter per hour pump, but all the accessories, the isolator, the dampener, the filter sock, the discharge hose, and the clamps, we're going to use all this. We'll keep this in the fuse toolbox behind the seat just in case we have an emergency, but I don't want to depend on this guy.
But all the other parts are pretty good. So
yeah. Everything else it's hardware, you know, it fits really well. Let's see.
So Blake, do you have experience in using a generic fuel pump?
Yes, I do. One of the biggest problems with the generic fuel pump is the plastic gears and the lack of filtration. So with this, you can see this actually has some trash in this screen, so this screen needs to be cleaned out a little bit. Even though it had a filter sock on it, things can happen, things can tear. debris can slip by. So any extra filtration is good. I've had these knockoffs where it'll suck up some grit or something. Maybe it was a fuel station with a contaminated underground tank, and it will just lodge into that plastic and lock it up in an instant. The fakes have left me on the side of the road before, and that's not fun. It's definitely not fun.
So the sock is there to be a filter, right?
Yes.
So you're saying it kind of got through the sock,
right,
and you didn't have that secondary filter to catch it.
Right. This didn't have the secondary screening mesh, this insert right here. So this insert will actually pop out and you can stick it into the knockoff if you want.
I'm surprised the knockoff didn't have one, actually. That
Well,
looks like a cheap part.
They cut corners.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they get the low price they have is, you know, removing components like metal components, removing additional screening, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's how they get it. I'm really curious. I may weigh these later just to see what type of a weight difference they have. But that's it, fellas.
Sounds good. So be checking us out. Check out the Low Buck Hemi Truck series, where this is what this is going into. But you can definitely use any of these tips for your Hemi swap too, no matter what is going in. See you guys.
Later.
Please like and subscribe to DIY